Jonah chapter 1 verse 3 says, But Jonah rose to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare and went down into it to go with them to Tarshish, away from the presence of the Lord. I'm reminded of a prayer meeting we had at the residence of Dr. Satish Thomas when we served at the Ludhiana Mathoma Church. I had taken the book of Jonah for the Bible study. As my usual practice before delving into the portion, I wanted to know what my parish members felt about this book. I began with a question. I asked them if they had to explain the book of Jonah to a person who is not aware about the story, what would they say? Or, in simple terms, what is the message of the book of Jonah? Many answers came. Some said it talks about disobedience. Some said it talks about God's love that cannot be measured. Some said 3 days in belly symbolize Jesus' death, burial and resurrection. And some others said it talks about redemption, and it went on and on and on. Well, all the answers that they said were in a way correct. Now let me ask you, what do you think this story of Jonah speaks about? If you ask me, I feel more than anything else, it speaks about grace. The doctrine of grace may be the hardest doctrine in the Bible to accept. Now, it's not that grace is hard to understand. We know what the word means. Our problem comes in the application. Grace asks us to accept two things we don't want to accept. One, there is nothing we can do to save ourselves. Second, if God doesn't save us, we will never be saved. Nothing more clearly summarizes the true meaning of grace than the simple phrase found in Jonah chapter 2 verse 9, wherein we read, Salvation is of the Lord. Now you might wonder, where exactly is the grace of God in the Jonah story? Well, the answer is simple. God let Jonah disobey. God didn't kill him on the spot. God gave him the freedom to mess up his own life. Now that didn't seem like grace at the time, but it was. God works even in the midst of our disobedience to bring us to Himself. Sometimes God lets us go way off course so that when we finally see our sin for what it is, we are ready to return to the Lord. Take up the challenge. Only His grace saves.